Why don't we call this meeting to order at 7:02?
Wonderful.
All right. Did you want to start off with some stuff you wanted to share?
I'll get to it in a little bit.
Okay,
Um,
no worries.
just so I can pull my email up.
No worries at
Um,
all.
Ron, you're first on the agenda with your bike walk
Yeah, let's go with that.
information.
Oh, right. Uh, so I think we had kind of spoken about some type of event with the community invited and like a forum type thing. Uh, and then Carolyn and Neil and I had gotten together and we spoke about combining it with a bike walk Bike Walk Farmington. Um, Maybe you guys could help me out a little bit, Neil, and
Yeah. So what you can hear me, right?
Yes.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, what I was thinking is we were talking this through at our last non-advisory, I guess it's the bike walk board meeting, um, is having some sort of program in the August September timeframe where we open it up to the community at large and encourage people to come out and hear what we have to say about what a bike friendly, pedestrian friendly community looks like. Get some input and comments from people. I was thinking maybe even getting some guest speakers, and Bruce may have some good ideas from his contacts in other towns. Ron, as well, West Hartford, Canton, towns that have a pretty vibrant community right now. And it doesn't have to be their boards or their advisory committees, but people in the town who are actually making things happen and seeing how this can work. And I think tying it in because it's a local election year. So we'll have a number of candidates, for whatever positions, Board of Ed, Town Council, et cetera. Might be a good opportunity for them to come out too, meet some people in town, let us hear their thoughts on where farming can go on this path as well. So that's kind of what we were kicking around as the three of us.
Yeah, so what were we calling it? Bike Walk Vibrant Community Forum, something like that.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's a good idea. Uh, and I think you get a lot of people interested too. Uh, one of the things we can do is start, throwing about, what an agenda would look like. What topics you think make the most sense or would be the most popular, I suppose, right? And I do know a lot of people, obviously, and in fact, I could speak to a few things as well, I suppose. Uh, but it's worth spending some time, I think, on an agenda. Are you thinking of a longer type of program, or just like an early evening kind of 2 hours thing, or what do you think?
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
envisioning an evening, uh, hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. 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 In that case, we really would have to, get the brain trust together and think about what we want to talk about, because
yeah.
ideally, uh, you, if that's the case, maybe you have, three or four speakers, 20 minutes with questions. So
Hmm.
uh, I see that seems to be very popular. Another thing we could do is do maybe two of those, and then either start or end with uh, a group of folks, a group of experts, say.
Hmm.
Uh, that might be something interesting. And
In some
given,
sort of in a like a panel format.
yeah, panel.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Uh, and that's worked very well over the years. Again, depends on the topic to a certain extent, but
Hmm.
uh, I could see getting people from New Haven Cat, Jay Stange from BCCO. Unfortunately, he's leaving. He's going elsewhere.
Mhm.
So they have to rehire that position.
Hmm.
But there's a lot of folks out there that are doing interesting things that I think would, really make some sense for us to, put a panel together. But I'll think more
Yeah.
about this. But I like the idea a lot. It's again, I think, anytime, we can talk about, community development, as it relates to, transit-oriented development,
Mhm.
the economic, quotient of this, what it means for the town to have all these trails going through the town. In fact, I just had an interesting meeting. Was it last week? I guess it was last week with a bunch of the folks in Western Massachusetts on the Canal Heritage Trail. They want to put together a grant to do an economic case study for the entire trail from New Haven all the way to Northampton, which I think is a really cool idea. And so I'm going to help them raise some money to do that. And so that include, all 15 towns from New Haven north in Connecticut, and then what is it? 6 towns? I think it's 6 towns in Massachusetts. So no one's ever done an economic study on the trail system. So I think that's fascinating just in itself. So maybe, for instance, if we've hired somebody with them, which I think we probably should, we have them come and do a presentation.
Aren't there,
So-
Bruce, do you know anyone that is like a UConn professor in like the urbanism department? I
Yep.
feel like there's so much academic information out there about, bikeways, pedestrian ways, and economics too.
Yep.
to tie
Yep.
in.
It's interesting, there is no planning degree in Connecticut. You got to go to UMass Amherst. Oh gosh, Tufts. There's, but there isn't a planning degree that you can get in Connecticut, which I think is fascinating.
Hmm.
You can get an architectural degree at Yale and a couple other places, but so it's interesting you mentioned that. There's every 3 years there's a bicycle and pedestrian summit, I suppose you'd say, at UMass, their planning department, and that's this year, in fact, in April. And maybe I can get some of those folks involved. My sister, in fact, is on the planning faculty at UMass. So, and then of course Yale, has got a couple of programs. So, yeah, and I know a lot of these people. But again, we have to kind of think about what we want to what we want to say here, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if we got 2 hours, that's not a lot of time to do
Yeah.
this.
It's true.
And it doesn't have to be one and done. We could do something like this every year. It's just the way to get a start maybe and get some momentum going.
Well, one thought I've got is, why wouldn't we maybe do this quarterly? Something like that.
Yeah, like a series. That would be a
Yeah.
good idea.
Exactly. Yeah, and get known as, having a series.
When were you thinking of doing this?
Well,
So-
you guys were thinking what, September?
Yeah, the late August, September,
Yeah.
around the start of school. And part of that it is, by then we'll know who, or the people running for town offices will be known, right? On both the Democrat and Republican side. And I think they might be interested in coming out and hearing some of this and engaging with the public.
I
Yeah.
think that's a great
I think
idea.
they should be. I'll say that, and hopefully that we can work with our contacts to kind of generate some interest and get them to come out as well.
Right.
Yeah,
So
that sounds like a really good, positive community outreach kind of thing. That would
Yeah.
bode well for our next application.
I would suggest to you guys, you do something like that, that probably a month or so before you have this event, post signs on the bike trail
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
those are the people who will show up. If you just
Yeah.
throw it out there on the internet, they might miss it.
That's a
Yeah.
good point.
Yep, I totally agree with that. I think that's, and you know what, between Bike Walk Connecticut and East Coast Greenway and a bunch of other organizations I work with, that's a big mailing list. So we can certainly get it out and get it on to, you know, some of the websites out there as well too.
Yeah. There's also a lot of events, every year, E-Race, the Tour de Litchfield Hills, they have big mailing lists as well. And, we can probably reach out to those because they attract from the valley and our communities. So,
Yeah, they sure do. In fact, I'm thinking of NEMBA too, and some other.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of
NEBRA,
people.
yeah, NEBRA, New England Bike Racing Association, CCAP.
CCAP,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
There's a lot, and then within USA Cycling, we've got tons of different teams that aren't even associated with them.
Mhm.
I can reach out to the Connecticut Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Board and see if they'd be willing to send anyone over and speak about upcoming bills and what the DOT is doing.
Yep. Yep. And in fact, the Connecticut Greenways Council, of course, could talk about what's going on in state parks and the rec trails program and all that kind of stuff. Again, we got to figure out. We've already talked about like 3 different meetings, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so we're gonna have to figure out, how we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but
Well, I farted, but that might
That's
not
not
be it.
it.
So I think, what I'd like to have is a small group of us get together over the next month and come to the next meeting with an outline of what we'd like to talk about at such an event. And once we have the blessing of this group, we can go out and start finding speakers and filling the slots. Does that make sense?
I think so. Yeah.
Yep.
So, I'm happy to participate.
Me too.
And Ron, Bruce, are you got some time that you can meet with us?
Yep, count me in. I love this stuff. This is great.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. And anybody else is willing to join us as well. We'll find a time to meet and we'll publish the date. Dylan, if you can send an email out or whatever.
Oh yeah,
Once
just
we
let
have
me
a date.
know. Let me know
Yeah.
when you guys are planning on meeting. If it's something that I can attend, I certainly will. If you want my presence, from the town's perspective and that.
If you guys
Um,
get me some stuff, I can put it on we have a new website for the Greater Hartford Cycling Club. I can put it up there. Also, we could post it on the bulletin board at the shop where people can see it.
Yeah.
So, once that gets a little bit more ironed out, if one of you just wants to send me an email, with a time and location, I will push it out, to the rest of the group, and then, we'll see where
Okay.
the meeting goes and look for speakers after that. That sounds like a plan.
Beautiful.
So our next meeting is March 12th. I like February and March because it's 28 days. So,
Oh.
do we want to pick a time and a date to meet now?
Yeah. Let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah, in fact, March 12th, that's Lobby Day in DC. I'm in Washington that whole week.
Okay.
But
So as long as we can use Zoom, I can do it almost any time except next Wednesday. I have an inland wetlands meeting.
yeah, I'm in Stanford next Wednesday. How about next Thursday? That's the 20th.
Yeah, I could do that.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. Dylan, is it possible for us to use this Zoom link or?
I mean, I can open it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got a Zoom account. I've got a Zoom account too. If Dylan, it's too difficult for.
Yeah, so all of the planning and zoning, all
Yeah.
of the planning department meetings run off of this link. Your inland wetlands run off of this account.
All right.
This is shared amongst the development wing, so
Well, just let me know if you-
scheduling can be
let me know if you-
challenging.
Yeah, let me know if you can't do it, and I'll do it on mine.
Yeah. So
Okay.
what date are we thinking of?
That's the
The
20th.
20th?
20th?
Yep. Is
And
7
what
o'clock
time?
good or 6:30?
6:30 or 7 is fine with me.
Okay.
6:30.
6:30? Okay.
6:30.
And so we've got Ron, Bruce, and myself, and Dylan if he's available. Anybody else want to join us?
I'd be curious. I'm just checking my schedule.
Well, you know what? I'll invite you, and we'll go from there.
Okay. It looks like I'm open though, so yeah, please do.
Okay.
So the community, what are we calling this?
We'll come up with a yeah.
Yeah.
We'll come up with
Well, the
yeah.
subcommittee,
we'll
so
Yeah, we'll figure out a name.
planning,
Right now,
Yeah.
it's the Bike Walk Vibrant Community Forum
Planning meeting.
planning meeting.
Okay.
uh,
Okay. And Bruce, you mentioned something else that you're going to be lobbying in DC. I know we
Yes.
have a legislative session going on in Connecticut.
Yes.
Is there anything that we should be aware of that you're aware of that you can let us know? You know, if there's things we should be contacting our representatives on, I know that can help.
Yeah, I was gonna do that. In fact, why don't we save that?
Okay.
Because I do. In fact, I testified on Monday in front of the Transportation Committee. So let me. I've got a bunch of stuff on that for you guys.
Okay.
So yeah.
You want to move on to the report card?
Yeah, we can. So as you all know, we were officially given bronze again. And I know that's disappointing to some. I did want to take a look at our report card kind of as a group, and I have 5 others from Connecticut that are also recent. I believe all of them were from last year, actually. So it's the new report card format. Um, Recently, the League of American Bicyclists updated their application, their report cards, and changed a lot of things, which I think was more so a surprise to a lot of people um, than anything else. But their report cards are very, very comprehensive now, and we can really break down where we need to improve and really start digging into it. Before it was just a one sheet, and now it's 6 or 8. So let me share my screen and we can take a quick look at this. I don't think it's going to be quick. I'm lying. Um, that work? No. Here. Can you see that?
Not yet.
No.
Oh, I was
How about
also,
now?
should I forward this to everyone as well, just so people can have something in their inbox?
That would be nice. Sure.
yeah,
Yes,
please
please.
do.
Yeah. Yes, please. Yes, I haven't actually seen this.
Great.
Yeah. So if you're ever looking for them, you got to get to the League of American Bicyclists webpage. Go to Bike Friendly America and click the BFA award database. And then the easiest way to do it is actually look for the state. Click Connecticut. And they'll all pop up down here, businesses, universities, communities. So this is where they all are. These are all the communities in Connecticut that were recently awarded in 2024 and have existing awards. So we'll be taking a look at some of those tonight.
Mhm.
We have a couple of gold businesses, Mitchell Auto Group, Mitchell VW in Simsbury, and Connecticut Mental Health Center. Good for you guys, going for gold. We have a couple silver and a few bronze, and then we have 2 universities. So Connecticut does pretty well. Yeah, we were 20th last year in the bike friendly state ranking. We're now 13th. So we're approaching that top 10. All right. So Farmington's one of 13 bike friendly communities here. A lot of our surrounding towns are part of that group. So let's take a look at Farmington. So the big focus this time around was the 5E categories. And those stand for engineering, education, encouragement, evaluation and planning, equity, and accessibility. Those are their grading metrics. They are obviously taking in some other accounts because when we got bronze, it was I wasn't necessarily surprised, but I wasn't maybe I had a little hope that we were getting silver for the few improvements that we have made. And Ron, myself, Brian, and Carolyn, through working on the um, bicycle web page, have looked at web pages for other towns and never really got into the other towns' report cards. But I recently have taken a look at them, and I would love to pull ours over there. Hang on with me. Sorry if you get nauseous. But you can see Simsbury, the one silver community other than New Haven, near in Connecticut. We outpaced them in every category. Every single one.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, that's why, yeah, I am convinced the new scoring method is like apples and oranges.
I don't know what it is. I thought the 5E categories were the scoring method, so I was like, maybe I should look at Simsbury closer and see, maybe they're doing something that isn't that much work, but bodes so highly on their
See,
report card. So
that's why I thought that's why
For
I
equity
was
and
telling you.
accessibility.
yeah.
That's
So,
the one area.
And I guess I'm a little confused that
Oh,
how,
this is Simsbury.
yeah, but
This
like,
is Farmington. The
how
max
come we have,
score, ignore that.
Oh.
That was the highest ranking.
yeah, but why does Simsbury's max score way lower than mine? Are they a smaller town, so they're getting compared against other small towns? And
Nope.
Farmington is bigger, or what?
Nope, their max. So the max score is just for that year. So 2023, those were the max scores.
Or
And
it
you
just
get
got that
compared
much
to,
harder this maybe for 24?
I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's not abundantly clear to me, at least, how they score this, if they do it on like a weighted average, um, you know, compared to other towns of that year, or if it's, but then, our
If
percentages would fluctuate downwards too,
sure, if
if
we
that's what
called,
was the case.
I mean, if we called the league, I mean, would somebody from the league do a Zoom call with us to our group and explain?
I'm
Because
sure they would. I'm gonna be reaching out to them and see if they can have a meeting with us.
yeah,
But
that'd be great to, make
kind of
that one
nail
of our
down, yeah.
meetings.
Guys,
Yeah.
I'd be willing to bet that they don't go backwards. In other words, if you made silver, you're going to stay silver even with a minimum effort at this point. They don't
That's-
want you to go backwards.
That's also my thought, because when you look at other towns, like here's Glastonbury. I mean, we're still ahead in every category. They're still bronze, bronze since 2015. It's hard because we don't have a lot of silver towns in Connecticut, and I'd rather not reach out to, towns in New York, or because it's not really the same region and there are different standards. But
We probably could compare against like Northampton or Westfield or something like that. I don't know if, I mean, they're in the bike path and similar to us.
yeah, potentially. But we still have a low crash rating, 1.8 over 5 years. Like West Hartford has 10 practically. So I was taking a look at these and kind of scratching my head going, why are we still bronze? So I want to get the grading cleared up. Canton, I think, is pretty
Let's take
reasonable
a look at
comparison too.
the education. I'm confused on that because we don't really have an education program at all. How are we even close to Simsbury for bike education.
Maybe it's that one bike rodeo day that, we put together that,
Can you hear me?
that Lily put together. Yeah.
Mm. They
Yeah,
have a
I
much
think
more
I think that
organized.
helped. Sorry, what?
Their bike to school events are big.
Whose?
Simsbury.
Simsbury?
There are a lot more details in how they score this though, on the following pages. If you look at what Carolyn sent to us.
Oh, like this,
Yeah,
Neil? Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I just don't know like how the points are given.
Well,
Yeah.
Like I could see that policies, design standards for the built environment. 41 points. I don't know how they decided we're 9.8. I don't know if it's I'm sure it's a panel of some sorts. Um,
I'm looking at the bike sharing scoring.
yeah, we don't have a bike share program. Ron, I
Mm.
think you said we did, but it was unfortunately
I don't know
dissolved.
if Simsbury does Simsbury have one?
they used to, they don't
They
anymore.
used to.
Oh, okay.
Did they get points for it?
It was through the
No.
same.
It was
It was
Simsbury
free
Free
bike.
Bike. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
they've been gone for a number of years now.
It actually bled into Farmington, right? There was a
It
hub
did.
down by the Route
Yeah.
4. Yeah,
Yeah,
At
that's
the
right.
golf,
Yep.
miniature golf. Yeah.
the route. Yeah, the golf.
I would say Bloomfield has the closest one to us now.
Hmm.
Well, I think we need to talk to them and find out, because there's a couple things here. For instance, if you go to Simsbury again, so where's the front page? So you see the maximum scores.
Hmm.
If education is 38% of 56%, that's actually a fairly high number, because we were what, 44
44. Yeah, let me pull it
Yeah,
up.
44 of like
44.45 of 42 of 83% for education.
okay, so that's 50%
Yeah.
of that number. So 38 of 56 is way more than that. If that's how that works. The problem is I'm not quite sure that if that's how that works.
I think, and I'm not really sure either, because there's a million ways to skin a pig, right? And it all depends on which scoring method they did. But it's more than just looking at the 5E categories. We did pretty similarly to them in the public survey response too. We have a little bit more, well, slightly higher share of very dissatisfied residents or poll takers. But it barely. They're sitting at 12%. It looks like in 2024 they switched it up. There's five categories now. Or there's still, hold on. Can't see. I have so many things on my screen. Um, so very dissatisfied. They were at 6.6. We're double. Dangerous. We are almost double too. So I don't know if it's the 5Es and then they take a look at the survey responses. I know the survey responses are part of it. And then they, look at bike-friendly businesses. Simsbury has 4.
Hmm.
We have 2 league instructors. They have 3. I don't think that's a big difference.
No,
Um,
no. You know what I suspect is the difference there is if you look at average daily volume and speeds, we destroy Simsbury. So
oh yeah, that's our
so
arteries.
Well, yeah, that's, I mean, but we're a pass-through community. We've got these arteries going back and forth through Farmington. We're never going to score as well as a Simsbury on that. We just aren't.
No,
There's no way.
no. Um, but yeah, I wanted to bring this to everyone's attention. I think over the next month or so, if you could just take some time and take a look at our report card and look at some others. Um, it just to gauge the region as a whole, so that we can attack this better over the next year or two and put us in a better position. Now, I know our certification is for 4 years. We don't have to wait for 4 years. You can reapply at any time. You are in no means required to only apply once every 4 years. So, Ron, that door is open. If
Mhm. Um,
Curious, what towns would you recommend us comparing if we're going to look at this to get as close as we can to apples?
so I'll tell you what town is the up and coming town. Avon,
Avon,
doing a fantastic job right now, putting everything into place.
Mhm.
It might take a few more years, but they've come out of nowhere.
Yeah, I have to admit they're pretty impressive.
Yeah.
When you consider, you know, they 3 or 4 years ago they refused to even fill out this form.
Yeah, they're
So-
kind of like they were like Burlington is right now. Burlington doesn't seem to care much, and Avon was like that. And I think they used Route 44 as an excuse or a crutch, but not anymore.
Any idea what got them off the dime and made them get involved?
Yeah, one person.
Ah,
Well,
One person came and pulled everything together. They got
Yeah.
our police chief.
yeah, they did.
yeah, well, Frank Gertman, from Bike Walk Avon,
Fantastic.
but they also did a very good bicycle and pedestrian study that finished up last summer.
Yeah.
And I thought it was very well done. I think that drew a lot of attention. No, they've been working hard.
They seem to get a lot of requests. We did that whole Bollard study. Well, Bruce, you and I were on that.
Yep.
And Fran went right to them and they said, "We'll do whatever you want. Whatever you came up with, let's make it safer and let's do it." There's a bunch of stories like that coming out of Avon. And I bring that up because at the Trails Council meeting 2 nights ago, she just had a whole bunch of news that she brought to the table, and everyone just stopped for a minute and said, "Wow, you're doing such a great job there."
okay.
Avon's really up and coming.
Good for them.
So the way I look at this too is, yeah, this whole competition is all right. Yeah, we want to be this and that. But then I look at just focusing on, for instance, education in the school system, connectivity, signage, wayfinding signage, and those things that we want to get done. And then just let that fall onto the application as they happen. That's what I'm interested in. Like the school system right now, that's big for me. And just hitting all these, I don't know, I guess I'm trying to say is not really focusing as much on this, but just getting done what we know needs to be done for this, to make our community better.
Okay.
What? So I've just been looking through the report. Thank you for sending it, Carolyn. And just even though, I think we've got a good idea of what we want to do to advance cycling in Farmington, going through the report and looking at the categories where we've barely scored anything. It's low hanging fruit. And even though it's stuff that maybe we talk about, it's things that the league thinks are very important to being I guess, an inclusive cycling town. Like there's one for evaluating the bicycle network. We got half a point out of 25. I don't even know what that is. And I mean, I think we've been evaluating the bike network every month for the last decade. So somehow we missed the boat on answering the question in the way that they wanted to hear it.
Yeah.
So
That's-
looking through the stuff, I mean, I'm hoping to see actions. Hey, here's the things that you need. Well, all right, here we go. Feedback to improve. So they've
yeah,
got
there's a whole section down at the
that whole
bottom, but
stuff. And just
to more of
comparing
what
it-
you're saying, Andres, about the scoring, it's evaluating the bike network. We've done that. We have maps. We put maps in the application. I mean, they've been evaluated.
I honestly don't know why we scored that low on that.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Unless we're just not answering it correctly, which is
Yeah.
possible.
Yep.
So I'm just thinking that, like, once we all digest it and read through the feedback, it's nice bullet points. There's several pages of it.
Yeah.
And compare that against the feedback that we got from our last report card.
Our
how
last
many?
report card, I think, has 2 or 3 bullet points, and they're not nearly as long as those.
Okay. Is there anything in that one that, we could have done that we didn't? And then between that, I think if we could set up, either next month's meeting or something like that, or a separate one for, with the league folks, hey, let's spend an hour or two evaluating our, application so we could understand it. Why do we score, go through each one that we have questions about? And same deal, just ask them, who is good to benchmark that's similar. Like there's no point us benchmarking ourselves against Amsterdam,
Yeah.
but
Exactly.
is there another mid-sized town, that's really doing it well? So I think the folks at the league would have some really good feedback rather than us guessing.
Yeah, I think your suggestion of having them come and speak to us after we've absorbed a lot of this data would be really helpful.
Yeah. I truly think some explanation is warranted in some spots. Just because, at a glance, without being in the room where they voted and hearing out the reasons why, I mean, at a glance, we outpace Avon, Simsbury, all the other towns.
Yeah, can we see the ones that they've awarded in this cycle? And, maybe
Yeah.
it might not be Connecticut, maybe that this way, then we can compare apples to apples, because then you'll see max score this round should be the same.
Yeah.
Maybe that's scored differently enough that it's not apples to apples.
What do you got, Ron?
That's a good idea.
Manchester got their first bronze
This year?
this year.
So, I know this application pretty well. Carolyn and I spent a lot of time on this.
Oh,
A
yeah.
lot of this is outreach. A lot of this is public outreach. I mean, you can see it right here in front of us.
All right. We didn't do as well as Manchester on planning and evaluation.
See, this is apples and apples because this was this year.
But education and encouragement were double their score.
Yeah, we are.
It's not that they doubled our valuation and planning, but that could just be because they did a planning study this year or last year and it finished this year and they were able to report it.
Yeah, they actually did.
Yeah, and I mean, even
There it is.
getting our police department as a bicycle friendly business, I mean, that would take us from 0 to 1. I mean, that's infinitely more.
That is true. Yep.
I'd hate to kind of strike a little bit of a negative note. We were really blessed when we were filling this out because we had Lily, and she ran the bike rodeo.
Yeah.
And we, just having this extra support from Lily and her mom that year was kind of crucial. We did a lot, I think. And just trying to keep that up might be a little tricky. So that education and outreach, it's not just the the schools and what's happening in the schools. It's also outreach to adults and like safety
Yep.
information spread at seminars and stuff.
Just
And
nailed it, Carolyn.
yeah, we were
And
pretty busy that year.
and
Yeah.
that takes all of us volunteering to have a how to ride your bike to work class, or go to the senior center and talk to seniors about safe driving habits around pedestrians and cyclists, or going to the library and talking to children. I mean, we got a 5.8 out of 42 points for encouragement. 7 out of 52 for education. I don't care what the rest of the other towns did. That's freaking low.
Our bicycle culture and promotion is 36 points out of the 91.
All right.
Again, I don't know how they assign points to everything. I mean,
Well, I bet it says max points, so I'm guessing take a look at somebody that got gold in the cycle and that killed that category, and that there's your max.
yeah.
So it might not necessarily mean that, hey, here's what needs to be, but it'd be nice to see that, hey, what's your threshold typically to boost it from to the next level? Because I gold is unrealistic, but to take it up to silver, hey, what do we need to do to get there? And I guess
Yeah.
after we read the feedback recommendations, we'll have a better idea.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it could be something as simple as having, percentages above, having an average percentage of 35%, but not a percentage lower than 16, and we were at 15.99, right? It could be something odd like that. So, I think a little bit more clarification on this would be a good thing. But yeah, I encourage everybody take a look at it. This is kind of what we're going to be working towards over the next few years. Ultimately, obviously, we have our own goals in mind as well. But if we don't apply sooner, Ron, I'm all for going for silver because it is absolutely attainable at this point to me.
Okay.
I'd like to present, some highlights of this to the town council at our next meeting. So if you'd like to go over
Sure.
some of those with me, and we'll figure out what we'd like to present. And also, I mean, it might be a little premature, but also let them know what we'd like to do to move forward and what we would like from them for support to help us
Yeah.
reach silver. So that they see how, because just going from 20 to 13 is a great achievement, I think, and to show them that we're willing to put in the work and we can do even better with their support.
Yeah. Yeah. I think ultimately over the next year, I think, just based off of our conversation earlier about the bike walk, vibrant communities forum, I think over the next year or so, we're going to be pushing outreach more than anything and trying to learn more about the community and what their needs are. Um, on a side note, CROG is starting a new program that we were recently invited to called the Priority Pathways, a bicycle and pedestrian network for the capital region. Our capital region is massive. I think there's a map of it not on this page. The capital region is, basically Farmington to Summers,
Yeah.
and then all the towns in between.
It's 38 towns.
Yeah, it's the largest cog. It serves, I believe, it's about 1 million residents of Connecticut, numerous businesses, both small and large, And CROG, I know we talked about this at a couple meetings, but CROG is starting to take more initiative towards active transportation. Um, and this is, I think, their first big rollout program for it. I mean, we're in the infancy of the program. Nothing's going to happen tomorrow. We're right here. So they've just started reaching out to municipalities such as Farmington for input. And we'll be looking at getting a meeting with them in the next month or two. I just wanted to share that with the group. So things are happening regionally as well that are going to help us on our next application. It's going to make our engineering, evaluation and planning, and our equity and accessibility scores go way up, like way up. This is going to be a very nice big project. There's going to be a lot of recommendations for municipalities. There's going to be a lot of funding opportunities that open up because of this study. So this is a good thing. This is as monumental as us receiving the recreational trails grant, if not more.
Yeah,
Because of
I
its,
I just sent a link out to everybody with that. And on that page, there's a sign up for more information. So just pop in your name and email,
oh yeah,
and at least, we'll all be kept in the loop too.
yep. So
Um, and just going back to the report card real quick for the program
sure,
stats. I mean, the ones where we've got 0 bike friendly businesses and 0 bike friendly universities, I think that's an easy win to get our police department on there, because we've got all the facilities there. And then same with getting Tunxus. If we get Tunxus on there, we change those from zeros to ones. Rather than looking at our peer towns like Manchester and Avon that all have zeros,
yeah,
it'll bump us up to the next level. And
And what
that
about
should be,
UConn Medical Center? I mean, that's a school, it's a university.
yep, for sure.
yeah.
That, and I don't know who is doing their bike ped, whatever. I remember there was somebody that tried to piggyback on us with that. But they should definitely be able to, hey, get that form, fill it out, pay the couple $100 for it. And honestly, I wouldn't be against using town funds to get the first few businesses on there. Hey, we'll cover your form, we'll cover your cost if you do it. Like
Yeah,
we've got, why not
I
Big Sky?
I want to say I think it's a couple $100, if I'm not wrong, for a business to do the application. And then,
I think it
they
depends
need,
on the size of the business. Smaller
yeah,
businesses, it's a lot.
it's like
It's
1
like
to 50 employees. It's
less.
like 50 to 500. It's like 200 or something. Yeah, you're right. There's a scale.
Yeah.
But they need to have things like bike racks and things like that. So maybe if, maybe
Yeah, I got to tell you,
get some assistance for
if
that.
if we thought about this a little bit, I mean, Trump comes to mind.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's others out there that I think would just do it.
Yeah, Jackson Labs may be one too.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Looks like
Yeah,
the
all of
bike-friendly
those.
business application closes at March 20th, for the next application cycle.
Do we have a link to that?
And then it applies, yeah, I'll send it out.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have that.
August 7th for universities.
Yeah, so 1 to 49, $50, up to 499, 100, up to 999, 250, and over $1,500. And if you're a corporate member of the league, you could get your primary membership for free. So that might be Mitchell, but
Maybe. Okay. So yeah, I think moving forward, I'll reach out to Rose to see if we can get some contacts for any of those businesses, Brian, and then
I know
maybe,
she's got them, yeah.
yeah, maybe you and I can work on reaching out.
Absolutely. I was just going to say that because I think the
And
town would be the perfect person to be a liaison for that.
and
Happy to do the
Dan,
legwork.
I'm just wondering, Dan, how hard would it be to have somebody from the police department just apply for that?
It's just easy as follow, like just sending up the chain, asking like my lieutenant to ask, the captain or chief to see if that's something they want to participate in.
Okay.
Super easy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it should be a pretty easy application.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the $50 or how many, do we have more than 50 employees are there, or
Say it one more time.
do we have more than 50 people at the police department?
Yeah.
Okay, so
50,
all
51,
right, so
52.
then it'll be $100 for that one, and I would expect the town to cover it, but
I would think, yeah.
I'm happy to donate it just to get that first one on.
Yeah, it's funny. I was just going to say I'm happy to donate it too, for God's sake. This is easy. I think relatively easy stuff for us to do.
Yeah, so I think over the next year, if we could get maybe 3, 4, 5 businesses, either Tunxus Community College or UConn, or I wonder if like isn't there like
Hmm.
the Goddard School? I wonder if they would qualify
Okay.
as a universities
The
thing.
preschool?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of
Yeah, yeah.
is
That's a Montessori preschool. I don't think that qualifies.
no.
We need
All right. Well, we
high
have
school regs.
we I guess we could have 2 universities, up to 2.
Yeah.
So
We have to.
You know,
yeah.
That's a
between
good goal
that,
right there.
I mean, we've got all the various gyms in town. They've all got shower facilities, and
Yep.
they should want to be bike friendly. But I would think for sure Big Sky, Valley Fitness, those two would jump at the chance for it.
Sure.
Hey, be good neighbors for our town.
Yeah. So
It
I think
also, it might be good if the town, I mean, could put the names somewhere or the community could put the names up somewhere. So it's a little bit of an incentive, like your name could be mentioned
Yeah,
for,
so I mean
yeah.
for Big Sky, I mean they are literally on the bike path.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And if we put a little effort in there and said, hey, you know what? Why don't we do a Eagle Scout project to make a bike path connector between the bike path to Big Sky and build a little bridge over that, swampy little stream.
Hmm.
Right now there's a 2x12 board. It works.
Yep.
A little sketchy, but it works. And so if we could somehow get an official connector to there, then I'm sure they'd love it. Because I mean, most people actually, I don't know. Some people like running inside on a treadmill, but I would think you'd want to be outside.
I imagine a lot of people from the Highlands that use that gym go there that way then,
Yeah.
right?
Yep, I have.
Yep. So, all right. I think we'll be pursuing this over the next couple weeks as spring rolls around and people start thinking about getting back outdoors. I think that's the perfect time to approach managers and business owners around town.
Dylan,
So
are you the liaison to set up the meeting with the league, or is that Ron or Carolyn, or
I'll set
who?
up the meeting with the
Okay,
league. Yeah.
great.
Moving on to cycling connections then.
Yeah, I kind of touched on it already. I was just gonna share the Krog project with everyone.
Mhm.
That and I was reading through some of the other towns' websites that were awarded bronze and silver. I guess Simsbury's website that because they're silver. And I'm kind of starting to feel Ron's passion for outlining more connectors to our trail system, more pathways and common routes, and having them either signed or mapped out somewhere, either on our website or on a plaque along the trail. I think we should take a new, fresh look at some of our existing maps, and I apologize, I don't have them with me tonight. And start taking a look and see where we want to connect to hubs, so to speak, around town. Um, the town hall complex with the school and the library. Tunks's Mead is another one that comes to mind. Farmington Village area, Unionville Center area. Post Office
And I-
Square. There's a bunch of places around town that people could feasibly bike to that maybe don't because they perhaps feel unsafe on the road or something like that, where a sign that says bike here might make them feel more at ease. We have a lot of that. So I think pursuing that over the next year is going to be a positive thing too.
What, when you think of that, do you think of people in this committee weighing in, or do you think more like a consulting group weighing in? Like, who
No.
would you imagine?
Us here.
Okay.
I think between everyone here, I think you all bike around town enough and know the local spots that are easy to get to by bike. I think we can identify those and perhaps discuss a path or two, um, maybe a path at each meeting until we have 5 or 6 paths mapped out, and then go back to TRB, and or have signs made up, like mock signs made up, and then go to TRB and see if that's something that they would be interested in putting up.
Wait, I'm sorry. I'm a little slow. Are you talking about just putting signage up, or are you talking about kind of actually making the connections with like physically, or just kind of using
Well,
what?
I can't make the connections physically right now. That wouldn't, that requires planning, funding, and then designing and executing. That's years down the line. But what we can do is we can, Ron, you presented, or I guess it was an old presentation, correct me if I'm wrong, about connecting the high school with the trail through, why can't I think of it?
Highland, right?
Pathway, pathfinding signage,
Wayfinder signage?
Wayfinder. Thank you. I was struggling there. Um, but with the Wayfinder signage, and the maps along the trail, I think that's a realistic short-term goal that we may be able to get by the end of the year or this time next year
Mm.
for the spring.
I might add that I am serving on the sidewalk committee, and one of the things we were talking about at our first meeting was how do we connect, the community to the bike trails as well.
Exactly.
So, I think they're aware of the necessity for doing that and the importance of it. So we're looking at, do we do that with sidewalks, or what do we need to do to make that more accessible to the community?
Yeah.
So,
But in a place like the Highlands where it's all non-collector roads,
mm,
all, pretty much local traffic only,
right.
where you can do Wayfinder signage, we can do that, tomorrow if we had the signs and the approval,
Mm.
so to speak. I mean, the ground's frozen, so maybe not tomorrow, but um,
With a big enough equipment, you could do it frozen ground.
oh yeah. It depends on how pretty you want the sign to look afterwards. Um, but yeah, things like that is what I'm thinking of. More long-term planning is like we have a gap study for sidewalk along Farmington Avenue
Mhm.
to fill that identifies gaps that need to be filled. Um, and things like that.
We do the Safe Routes to School is free. So
Yep.
I just want to bring that old chestnut up again.
Yep. I've
They
been
will do the
speaking with the
study. Yeah.
assistant superintendent over the last week or so. And he's provided some valuable insight onto where they feel with that. It's not
Nice.
exactly where we want them to be, but I think they could be persuaded.
Uh,
Would some more public pressure help with that? Getting residents to talk more about it and seeing that there's a demand for it?
No, that's not really their issue. Their feeling is that so the Board of Ed is responsible for the school. The building maintenance for the school. They feel as if because of the Safe Routes to School program is for, call it a mile outside of the school,
mhm.
they feel as if that's not really their call to make. So my thought was that it's really a school application that they need to put together, and their thought is it's really a town application that you need to put together. They don't have. I got to talk with him some more about how the partnership would work, but um, they're not opposed to having it done.
Would it help for a Safe Routes to School representative to talk to us on the committee?
Wow.
I think
Or,
so.
or,
I think that would be beneficial, and then go back to the school with that information, or ask if we can give them a presentation, which him and I did discuss doing
I would love to
already.
have, yeah, love to have the superintendent on that same night. We get a Safe Routes to School person,
The
and then let us all see it at the same time.
Yeah.
And hear it. And then there's no us wanting to push them work from our
No,
work
yeah.
onto them, stuff like that. Then then we could both hear it the way, good partnerships are done.
Yeah. So, I
so
think
the
go ahead, Bruce.
the new DOT coordinator for the Safe Routes program is Bridget Moriarty, and I actually know her.
Okay.
So, if you want to set that up, I can work on that.
I think that would be great.
That'd be
Really
ideal.
very helpful, I think.
Yeah, because I want to get as much information about how this works, and then give them a bit more arm
Yeah.
twisting,
Yeah.
so to speak. And see where that goes. I would love to. I mean, even if Bridget just had a half hour, Bruce, one day.
Oh,
If you could
that's
do a
kind of what
phone
I'm
call.
envisioning. It's like a half an hour, 45 minutes. A little bit of a presentation and some questions and answers, and I think that would go a long way toward
Yeah.
getting everybody more comfortable.
Yeah, and I think that has something to do with it, because a lot of these programs, just for everybody's information, they tell you it's a free assessment and all this, and then it's you do it, and they give you the report, and it's all right. You got 90 days to make these changes, and you're like, what?
For what? I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Did
It's
that
not-
happen to Canton?
I don't know.
that's
I-
not how
I-
this goes at all. It's
No, I'm
Cindy
just
and I sat in there and asked those exact questions.
Ron. I'm just trying to say that some of these programs, not all of them, it happens
I'm-
a couple
I think
times.
we were in the Safe Routes to School presentation, and they had they had like 60 possible ways for schools to improve the routes from easy to medium to difficult. Some of the easy ones were like weeding a parking lot so people didn't have to step through weeds. You know what I mean? Like,
Really?
I think, yes, yes,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
If
So-
it if it helps, I've got a recording of me asking the question directly to them and saying for towns such as Farmington, who are a little sketchy about you guys, will you force them to make any of these changes? And she said no.
Oh, okay. Well,
I
yeah,
can,
if you could,
I can forward that.
sure. Where was the meeting? Was that in Canton when they were doing
Yes.
it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that was the post meeting where they were talking about all the
It
results
was
that they
the
had.
exit type meeting where, yeah.
Yeah, the exit.
Okay.
Would you like to move on to the Trails Council update?
Yeah, we can. And Bruce, we'll set up that meeting with Bridget offline. All right. Thank
Good.
you.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. Trails Council update. Ron, you're usually our Trails Council guru.
Yeah, that was just a couple nights ago too. I think I was preoccupied actually during that meeting. I don't know. Canton's doing something. Maybe Bruce knows what's going on with the.
Well, Canton's doing that pump track. They got a Rec Trails grant. Let's see. I wasn't at the meeting, so I'm trying to think of what
Oh! I know what's going on. So we're getting signage for the second half of the loop, where people get lost once you get off the trail and you go through part of Canton after you cross Route 144, circle through Simsbury, and then reconnect with the trail. In the process of talking to the towns and the state, and because that's a big deal with people getting lost on that. Another issue, and Dylan, tell me if a gentleman from Simsbury has been in touch with you regarding e-bikes on the trail. He had written a long letter to the Trails Council and said that he was in touch with Farmington and Avon because he was concerned about them not knowing the rules of the trails and something about signage. I was just wondering if you were the person he spoke with, if he spoke with anybody. I have his name. Maybe Tom. Tom Tyberski. Director, Simsbury Culture, Parks and Recreation. I guess Bruce was copied about something too.
Yeah, I can't remember if I actually got back to him or not. I am going to discuss raised bill 6862, which that was my testimony on Monday. That's the new e-bike bill that's in front of the Transportation Committee. But I do recall that email, Dylan, and I don't know if the town responded to it.
Oh, sorry, I keep freezing. So I kind of missed some of what you said, Ron.
So
what email did I maybe
a guy
receive?
named Tom from Simsbury.
Tom from Simsbury.
Apparently, so he's part of Parks and Rec, Simsbury Culture. But reading through this email chain now, I think he had some of his facts wrong or expectations of what we can actually do on the trail to keep e-bikes at a certain speed limit.
Yeah, he was asking for something that's not really easily done. You know, the big thing that's being talked right now at the legislature is e-bike classes, speed limits potentially, top tube stickers when they're sold that outline whether they're class 1, 2, or 3, because class 1 and 2 are allowed on multi-use trails and 3 isn't. even though some 2s have throttles. But it's still not quite written correctly. And that was part of my written and spoken testimony on Monday. And I can go to it in more detail, but if any of you want to look at it, you can go on to Transportation's site on the legislature site. It's raised Bill 6862, an act concerning electric scooters, electric bicycles, and motor-driven cycles. And there's a lot in there, not the least of which is it requires helmets, which I think is interesting. And fines. But one of the things I talked about was the fact that all of this is only as good as the enforcement involved. So as a practical matter, if a municipality, so let's say a Farmington, enacted a municipal set of laws regarding use of e-bikes within the town, which would allow the police department to write tickets, that's enforcement by itself. Even if a ticket doesn't get written, the stick hanging over some miscreants would be that the ticket could be written, right? So, and again, the transportation committee is looking at all this stuff right now. So, operational guidelines, safety standards. I mentioned the identification labels. I'm looking at some of the stuff I talked about here.
Okay, good. So it's actually at a higher level still.
Oh yeah,
Fran. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Any talk about the trail jail?
The trail jail. Yeah. No, I didn't dare bring that up.
All right.
The Ron Gorosky Trail Jail.
Yeah. 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 No, I didn't bring it up. It was interesting. A couple of chiefs of police were testifying about this, and both of them were in favor. So I think it's past time that the state looks at a better codification. Ultimately, what I talked about was, and I think everyone here understands that an electric bicycle is a vehicle to the same extent as a bicycle, but an electric bicycle is not a motor vehicle. So you need to fix the line legislatively of what is a motor vehicle, and then essentially work backwards, right? Because if the state of Connecticut doesn't understand what constitutes a motor vehicle, so in other words, taxable, licensable, etc., and then everything that's underneath that does not need a license. That's like the first thing they got to do. And I'll give you a quick example. So expands the definition of motor-driven cycles to include electric and hybrid motors. And when electric, a wattage of 1,500 watts or less. And again, motor-driven cycles do not have to be registered or licensed. Well, okay, except that if you go by that equivalency, the upper end of mopeds is 50 cc's. 50 cc's equates to 4,000 watts.
Yeah.
So
they move fast enough too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, those things
they'll do
fall.
40, 50, sure.
Oh, they'll easily go 50. Yeah. So that's already wrong, right? Even apart from the fact that internal combustion engines generally aren't allowed on the trails, with the exception of emergency vehicles, basically, and maintenance vehicles. So they have, basically what I testified to was they need to think about this a little more. But I urge you all to read it because it's interesting.
Yeah, I just sent the link there too. And Bruce, I've got a question. Last year the legislature, as part of one of their omnibus bills, I think approved a study on Idaho stops. Do you know anything about that?
They did. I don't think they've got. I don't think they have the study back.
Okay.
I think these things tend to take forever. I'd love for them to get that study back and get that. That was part of the Vision Zero recommendations.
Yeah.
There was, yep.
And was basically remanded for for more study. But I have not seen it crop up again yet.
Because
Okay.
it was actually a deadline which has already passed.
Yeah,
Because I was a part of that subcommittee, and that was one of our biggest
Okay.
issues. Yeah.
And did they hire out the study to some consulting company, or are we doing it within the state?
I think they hired it out, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure they did. And then the other one of any interest, and it's still in committee, is in environment. And Mike D'Amico's on environment, and Rick Lopes runs it, and I know them both, obviously, which is proposed bill 1116, an act providing funding for the maintenance of certain trails by the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection. So this is essentially all the trails that DOT doesn't run in the state, and mostly soft surface trails through our state parks, which in Farmington we don't really have any of, but across the state there's a ton of them. And I'm closely following this bill, and I sent a letter to the committee regarding that bill. And there's a few others, but nothing has kind of risen to the surface. But I want you all to know about those two.
Thanks.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I got the link to the first one.
Yeah, I just sent the link for the 1116 as well
Oh, okay.
in the chat.
And again, they're all in committee, so ultimately the transportation committee did have kind of pre-testimony on Monday. Environment has not had testimony yet, so I'll let you know when they announce that. They usually don't give much warning. Unfortunately, you get like 48 hours warning. So,
But thanks for that update. I
yep.
appreciate the links. Do we want to do the public information seminars? Any updates on those? The bike group commuting and traveling?
Well, so Matt and I and Neil, we still have to get together for our April date with
Yeah, I believe that's the 9th, right?
April 9th. Yeah. So Matt, we'll get together and talk about a date when the three of us can get together.
Yeah, well, let's, why don't we try to set something up now?
All right. What do you got?
How about the week of February 24th? What do you got?
Week of February 24th.
You want to do a Monday?
Neil?
I'm out of town through that Thursday, but I could do a Zoom meeting.
We could do
Or,
something the next Monday, that March 3rd, if you want. We could just get together somewhere if you want.
Okay, yeah, that works for me.
Okay.
All right.
And I'm flexible, day, evening, whatever you want to do, morning, afternoon, whatever.
Me too. I'm off all day, so.
All right, coffee somewhere, pick a place. Let's nail it down right here. 11 a.m. Where?
You want to meet at what's the little place next to the gym in Unionville?
Bruno's?
No, the other place. I was thinking of the sports bar.
Yeah,
Sorry.
the grind.
Iron,
Yeah,
Iron Horse?
Iron Horse. Yeah.
Iron Horse. Yeah, we can meet there. There's booths there. It's pretty quiet.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, what time you guys want to meet? 1100?
Is that 11 like the 11 that comes before 12 noon?
Yes. Yes.
All right. I'm good.
All right, and then if you're hungry, you can get lunch, Ron. We'll feed you.
Okay. Cool.
Cool. See you there.
Awesome.
Great.
About the Trails Grants update.
We need to do an RFP, and that will probably come up the end of this month.
Okay.
Yep.
And I want to thank Ron and Carolyn for their comments on the website draft that we have.
Yeah, we're gonna get something new up there for the paragraph. And before I put it up, I'm gonna send it to everybody.
Yep.
And
Was I a little
My
cranky that
thoughts, I
squared
day?
had some
away.
marketing thoughts on that.
yeah,
So I'll write something and send you what I was thinking, and you can
okay,
pick what you want and use whatever you want there.
yeah.
All
And
right.
and Ron, I saw it before they put it up, and I was like, well, I guess. And against my better judgment, I let them put it up. So that's on
Yeah.
me. I apologize.
It's a draft.
Yeah,
I didn't know it was a draft.
it's a working draft.
Yeah.
In
Yeah,
case everyone's wondering, it made Farmington sound like this double gold cycling community.
we are.
And it's very easy. It's all flat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you stick to the trail, it's relatively flat.
But I'll share my thoughts with you, and you can take what you want. And I'll send it to you, Ron, and Carolyn as well. So
Yeah,
you
we'll
can
just keep it in the same group and then
Yeah.
I'll look through it and put something up there
Okay.
for everybody to look at for one final go around and then get it up. One thing I wanted to mention, doing a calendar is difficult on the web page. They don't do it for I think anyone else. So what we were thinking was, and with Rose's permission, we'd like to put the like community-based calendar stuff on Rose's Explore Farmington webpage and have a link to their calendar on ours. That way it's a little bit more cohesive with the rest of the town's webpage. And I mean, inevitably, more people probably go to Rose's webpage than ours.
Have more exposure.
And there's a bit more exposure, so I kind of liked it for that too. But we could see if we could maybe add like a window that mimics hers that, is updated through because I remember my when my mother made her website for her classroom, she was able to grab like something from like weather.com and it was like a widget on your phone, but it on a website. So I'm wondering if we can maybe have it kind of linked like a widget on the web page, if
I
that's
even have that
possible.
already.
Yeah. So, but that's all I wanted to share. One of their critiques or problem areas, I guess, with IT. So that's it.
All right. The only thing we have left is the approval of the minutes. Will I make a motion does anyone want to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
Okay.
Second?
I'll second
All in favor?
Aye.
it.
All right. And then the adjournment. Motion to adjourn?
Sure.
All right.
Oh,
All in
Ron.
favor?
Sorry,
Go
not
ahead.
Ron. Matt, you're mute.
If Dylan could show a picture that I
Yes.
got, my wife and I were in Philly, and Philly's a pretty bike-friendly city. And remember we were talking about getting rid of the bollards because they're, sudden stop.
Mhm.
This thing I saw was in a bike lane and it got sideswiped by a salting truck and it just popped right back up. And I was very impressed. It looks like it would fit in the holes that we use for our own bollards. And then the highway department could take the bollards and put them at some parking lot or something where they don't want people. This is a really classy, it's a fiberglass bollard. It's got the striping on it that's reflective. It
Yep.
looks like it mounts right in the same thing, right down into the
They're
pavement.
they're actually bolt mounted.
Yeah,
I believe they're called delineators.
Yeah, that's
And-
a delineator. Yes.
Yeah,
This one has a lot of character to it, I thought, but
it does.
the fact that I watched a salt truck sideswipe this thing and it just popped right back up, I thought durability wise it'd be great for the pass, but it also I went over to it and pushed it over myself. It felt it fell down enough so that if you hit it with a handlebar or you clipped it with a pedal, you're probably not coming off your bike. And this
Okay.
was kind of, we were talking about the safety and the fact that, you know, if you have somebody hit a bollard, it's a sudden stop. This may be a solution for the future.
Yeah. Ron, did your or Bruce and Ron, did your group talk about delineators when you guys were looking at the bollards?
Yeah, we did. They don't actually qualify as bollards. The problem is they're not static enough to keep somebody in an automobile off of a trail. So DOT doesn't recognize them for that usage is the problem. Now, what I did see recently on the brand new New Hampshire Seacoast Greenway is they're doing all of the crossings with a modified small kind of diamond-shaped speed table instead of bollards. So you can drive over it with an emergency truck, but a car wouldn't want to. And they paint them bright colors so you can see them on a bike. That's a possibility. And I hadn't seen those specified before. That's like brand new. That came out of the brand new AASHTO guide.
How deep are those? I mean,
They're like a standard curb height. So they're like, what is that, 8 inches? 9?
Typical curb, well, 6-inch is probably standard.
Yeah. I'm thinking they're a little more than 6, but not much.
Okay.
So how does a cyclist get around it?
Oh, just like you get around a diamond, painted around a bollard. Same concept. About the same size, in fact. Kind of that diamond shape.
Okay.
I'll get pictures. I don't have one right available, but I've got pictures of them.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, delineators could be on the trail side before along the white or
Yes.
or yellow, along
In
the
fact-
yellow line.
In fact, I've seen them used in that application.
Yeah.
And that does tend to work. I think the problem is that they literally just flop down, right? So that's
Yeah.
which they're designed to do.
Yep. Probably see them come out with a more static version that qualifies as a bollard in the next year or so. I'm sure if that's the reason people aren't using them, the manufacturer will find a way to sell them.
Oh, probably. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. Sorry, Matt
No,
had
budget.
made the comment
It's-
earlier that he'd like to bring it up. I forgot.
Yeah, no, it's always worth talking about this stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, sorry to rush you through it.
No, it's fine.
No problem.
All right, unless there's anything else that I missed,
Now we're good.
we have an approval for adjournment. Thanks everyone for your time.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
guys.
you.
All right.
Take
Good
care.
night.